Okay, let's call this meeting to order. Do we have public comment? Any public comment? Good. Let's see, action. Reorganization nominations for nominating committee and appointment officers for 2025, chairman, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer. Jill.
And since the nominating committee, Donna, who's the chairman of the nominating committee, cannot be here, I'll just go down through and read if that's okay. I think I put everything in everybody's packet, but we're considering leaving. We're recommending everybody stay the same for the COG board members. The chairman would be Rob Horvat, vice chairman Gretchen Myers, secretary Jill Dunlap, and treasurer Renee Hayes. So if somebody wants to make a motion for that.
So moved. I'll second.
Great. Appointment subcommittees, electronic event, energy, audit, and nominating subcommittees.
Once again, on the sheet that was provided, the COG subcommittees, we used to have a tire and tire/recycling event committee, but now we've changed the title to be like electronic or recycling committee, because we probably won't do the tire event again. And so that being said, the committee's looking at changing gears, but we're recommending Chairman Brenda Schmidt to stay the same, and then members Renee Hayes and Terry Simonette. On the nominating committee would be Donna Keene as the chairman, Jill Dunlap and Jennifer McClymans as members. Then the membership committee would be chaired by Fritz Snyder with members Joe Christ and Ron Irwin. On the audit committee, chairman would be Rose Muma, and members Deb Merritt and Caitlin Lopez. On the energy subcommittee, the chairman would be John Leffingwell, with members Bob Ackerman and Kevin Keene. So that's the recommendation from the nominating committee. Need a motion?
No, just, can I have a motion to approve those?
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. Then that's all approved. Just in time.
If you guys would have salted your roads.
Where the roads?
You can take over from here.
Where are we at?
The minutes approval.
All right. All right, so we need a motion to approve the minutes from October 17th. There we go.
I'll make a motion.
We got a motion, we got a second? Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We need a motion to approve the Tribune and PA COG bills. We got a motion on that?
So moved.
I got a motion, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, your treasurer's report's in the packet. Unless anybody has any questions on that, we'll just keep on going. Seeing none. Do we need a motion to accept Venango, or we just have to?
Yes.
Okay, so we need a motion to accept Venango Borough as a member of the COG.
So moved.
Now we got a motion, we got a second.
Second.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Let's see, we have the road projects and joint purchase meeting scheduled for February 7th at the Westmead Township Building at 9 a.m. And is there any other business?
And that's actually road projects and joint purchases. So if anybody's interested in grouping together other items beside road projects, don't hesitate to send your, whether it be public works or, secretaries, treasurers, managers. Everybody's welcome.
All right. Anything else? Brad, what do you got? Are you just here to observe?
I'm just
Okay.
here to watch.
Oh, I figured I'd give you an opportunity. I don't know if you had anything good for us.
No.
Okay, all right, well, give you a chance, give you time in the spotlight here.
The governor is going to be making his budget address for the new state fiscal year in a couple weeks. Money is in very short supply. The current budget has about a $2 billion deficit spending number. his budget proposal will probably have more deficits. The surplus is being quickly drained. We're gonna be digging into the rainy day fund very soon. So at some point, line items in the budget that municipalities depend on, schools depend on, human service agencies depend on, at some point, those are either gonna be reduced or there's gonna be a big tax increase, and we don't get the spending under control. So I don't mean to sound negative, but the finances cannot continue like they are at the state level. Just like at the municipal level, you can't spend more than you're taking in.
Yep.
Do you have any thoughts about like looking at that budget where you're like, wow, here's a clear place that we need to be cutting?
Almost every place, there's a lot of inefficiencies all across the different things funded by state government, but it really comes down to priorities. What's the most important things that the state does? Make sure those are funded, just like municipalities do. Things that aren't really that important, if you run out of money, you don't do them.
Was there anything that stood out for you? Like, you're like, wow, I'm just curious if there was anything that you feel like we should.
Well, I don't want to take over your whole meeting here, but it's just all kinds of examples, all kinds of, there's people that need state programs that absolutely, through no fault of their own, need the support of taxpayers. People with severe intellectual disabilities, people with severe, physical handicaps and so on. But then there's other people that could work, they choose not to, they melt the system. We need to get rid of those. There's a lot of state money that goes to things of questionable urgency, state money that goes into, solar panels and windmills and things like that. I'm not against those things, but on a day like today, you realize things like making sure roads are plowed and making sure public safety is taken care of, that, there's priorities that state government and municipal governments need to do. And sometimes you can't afford to fund the fluff when your core functions need to be taken care of.
Can we say the roundabouts are a big waste of money?
I think they are. If somebody was building a brand new area and you had to have intersections, do roundabouts. They're safer than regular intersections, but I've always been pushing, not very successful, that bridges should be the priority when PennDOT is looking at how to spend money. Because if you can't get over bodies of water, what are you going to do? And maintaining the roads that we already have. When I talked with PennDOT, I said we don't really need to add turning lanes or to add lanes to roads or to add roundabouts. We should be taking care of what we already have. And roundabouts are very expensive to put in. And I mean, the safety's there, believe it or not. All the numbers show they're safer.
Well, there's no doubt as long as everybody knows how to use them.
Right.
But I mean, I was up in Waterford and literally watched people drive around it the wrong way. I've seen people driving around on the sidewalk because they didn't know what they were supposed to do. So, I mean, as people get used to it, yes, but initially I have to question the safety, aspect of it.
All the statistics show, fewer crashes resulting in death. You get more cars per hour can go through an intersection.
There's no doubt about it.
All the numbers are good, but if you have a bridge that needs fixed, and then you have an intersection you want to put a roundabout in, I just think the bridges should have the priority.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Well, thank you for that somewhat depressing news. Chris, you got anything from the county that's a little more upbeat already, or do you want me to just adjourn this thing and call it a day? I mean,
no, I think we've two matters that are most important to this body. Of course, the deal mostly with our emergency services. The tax relief ordinance that the county is considering is still under consideration. We're formulating performance standards at this point that would apply to that ordinance. That process has gone maybe a little slower than I would like, but by the same token, it'll be a quality product once it's done. And the P25 digital radio project is still under consideration. As always, looking at alternatives for the goals that we're hoping to achieve. Do we need that entire project, can we piecemeal it out, can we phase it? These are kind of underway at the moment. I would expect some concrete movement on that in particular within the next several weeks. We'll have a little more news coming out. But again, county budget was passed, no tax increase. There were some tough calls in that thing, to the representative's point. We are just as most entities, whether it be government, nonprofit, or for-profit, seeing staffing issues, difficult time attracting quality candidates to positions, and then consequently retaining them. So while trying to maintain fiscal responsibility, we're also trying to reinvest in our employees as best we can to make sure that Crawford County is a quality place to work, county and the government, so to speak. So again, always happy to have conversations about the internal workings of the budget and everything else that goes on up there. Just let me know. We're good here to go.
All right.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry. Look, and I'm just like already on it.
Oh,
Go
that's all
ahead.
right. I have a question on the P25. Can you tell us a little bit more? You actually advertised for what? You had an advertisement in the paper, and maybe explain
Right.
that was to consider.
Sure. So
Purchase.
a request for proposal was put out by a firm called MCM. There are consultants on this project to solicit project quotes for essentially the construction. The summary of it will be the construction of several towers, the implementation of a digital radio platform, plus subscriber units for all our volunteer and paid responder agencies throughout the county. And we anticipated that would be an 8-figure price tag, and sure enough it was. So looking at that and considering, okay, that's the top of the heap. So let's drill down into this and see, do we really need this A, B, or C? Do we need to choose A and leave out C, that sort of thing? And now we're just really getting down into the details of the quote that was given to us. We unfortunately only received one bid. There are very few firms that do this sort of work. A couple of them were not able to put together what Crawford County needed, and opted not to participate in the RFP process. And that gives us pause right there. This is a fairly substantial project, and only having one entity be able to price it out to us is not a real comfortable position for us to be in. The hazard being, of course, well, we can bid it and hope for better, maybe more participation, but we're also putting ourselves at the mercy of potentially getting a higher bid and being stuck at that. So we kind of have to calculate the risk in that. And if we choose to go that direction, there's quite a financial lift we're going to have to do. But I think that we're actively considering alternatives potentially, and if it does come down to we would have to do this, then it's going to take a lot of pencil sharpening for many years to decide how this would be best done.
So is it safe to say that you are going to be going with P25?
No.
Okay.
We have not.
Thank you for that.
Sorry, I may have been-
I would just like to
Yes.
make sure if it's been a decision already made, or if it's still being considered.
We have not voted on it. We've considered it in our study sessions and whatnot. There's been a lot of conversation going back and forth with our emergency services personnel in the county, as well as all the agencies out in the periphery, to see, okay, what are the pros and cons of this, and what's the best decision we can make for everybody involved. But no, there's been no decision made yet.
And that's where the committees that meet, the countywide, your county fire and EMS committees are working, plus with the volunteer fire departments and everybody involved, plus municipalities.
Yes, absolutely.
Because we're affected also. Okay.
What's the crux of I lose track of time. 20 years ago, when they switched from the UHF to the VHF, system, and then there's all kinds of different frequencies. There's Fire Central, Government Central, Med9. All the different EMS, fire, and police agencies, they can all communicate with each other.
Yes.
So supposedly this radio system is better than the one it replaced 20 years ago. What's the new system going to do that this system doesn't do?
I need to be careful about my own technical knowledge in this, and the representative, you certainly outshine me as far as how to use a radio. I believe there's more interoperability with neighboring counties, particularly Erie County. There will be areas of the county that will be serviced more reliably through portable radios and mobiles, as well as their vehicle mounted inside various size buildings and outside. So it was really a question of how can we get to 90% or better portable inside, I think it's a 10 decibel building. And this seems to get us in that direction. But again, it might not be the only thing that gets us in that direction. Most of the equipment we're purchasing now, our 911 consoles, everything that's coming out new is digitally compliant. Whether we're using that system or not, you're able to switch over to it. So there are a lot of components within the county operation already that wouldn't really see much change, mostly in our dispatch. But yeah, it was a question of better operability with our neighboring municipalities, as well as getting better service all around throughout the county.
I've been out of the fire EMS stuff for a couple of years, but in years past, but departments that are on the border with other counties, sometimes they've had like 2 different radios in their trucks,
or they have
members
a
would have
tri-band or something.
Yeah,
like that.
2 different pagers, because when they get dispatched to a neighboring county, and yeah, that's a very, very expensive thing.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So,
Oh, yeah, do you have that safety study, the road safety? Is that still in progress?
yes, I haven't seen the final product from that yet. That should be up for much longer. I'm kind of interested in that myself.
Okay, I was just curious.
One of the meetings we had in this room actually informed that. So
Yeah.
I will be anticipating that for much longer.
Sometime in February is what we were
Oh,
told,
is that
so,
what it was?
yep,
Late
just,
January or
yep.
February.
Fill the forms out.
Yeah, everybody did the
Dangerous
surveys, yeah,
intersections,
right.
roundabouts that are.
Yeah.
Actually, I put in there about there's no sign for Park Ave entrance. When you come from Sheets over there, I've seen so many people sitting there trying to figure out how to get into the Park Ave Plaza. And, there is no signage saying Park Ave exit right half a mile, or whatever it would be. And so many times I see
Crosses.
people that's not familiar with the area. We all grew up here, you don't even think about it. But people sitting there trying to figure out how they're going to get in. And ultimately, while they're looking this way, they pass by the actual way into the Park Ave Plaza. So, some simple signage there seems like that would be helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
The only other thing I have to add, in case the people aren't aware or haven't been following, East End School is on the market for sale. We haven't figured out exactly which way. I was kind of hoping the county would step up and say, hey, we're interested in it, because,
Yeah.
then they could move offices there instead of renting space. They
I
could
will
own their
faithfully
own.
take your comments back to the board.
They have a whole building.
But yeah, just if anybody knows an entity, we could do a sale to an entity easier than we can anything else. And so we are definitely open to some negotiations as far as the school board goes on the East End School building.
All right. Well, if we have nothing else, the next meeting is April 17th, 2025. It'll be at the Vernon Township Building, so hopefully I won't be late. With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
Second?
Second.
All
That
right.
was a tough meeting.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.